All radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
When you walk out on that field today, ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! Let's go to the house! Let's go to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? Let's go to the house. Let's go to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up with chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. Why don't you step on the field, man? That's who I did. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready? Let's go to the house. Let's go to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
Nope. Game is just getting started right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Winning Wednesday. I got a very special guest going to be joining me today, a longtime friend, colleague, and I'll do the introductions when she comes on. She takes care of the NBA for The Athletic and of course, has covered the Houston Texans extensively while with the Houston Chronicles. So I'll be asking her a bunch of stuff, especially given the fact that Rusty Hardin, the attorney representing Deshaun Watson, made his first extensive statement yesterday on behalf of the quarterback who is alleged to have committed multiple cases of sexual assault on masseuses. And I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised. I saw some eye-opening things in the statement. None good. None good. None of it is good. None of it is good. Let me state off the rip again, sexual assault allegations should be taken seriously from the top to the bottom. I'm talking about from the president, former president of the United States, all the way down to whoever. Everyone should be heard. Everyone should have an opportunity to present their evidence. And the powers that be, the judges, the juries, what have you, grand juries, whatever, should have the right to hear those out and render judgment. That being said, I'm going to read this statement in its entirety, and I'll let you hear for yourself what was said and make your own decisions. I this court of public opinion, man, good God, that thing right there. Let me read the statement. I'll get back to it after that. All right, statement by Rusty Hardin. I want to emphasize let me do it right. Statement by Rusty Hardin, and I quote, I want to emphasize at the outset that we, Deshaun Watson, that we and Deshaun Watson recognize that sexual assault and harassment are not only unlawful, but morally wrong. It takes courage for women to come forward to report being mistreated, particularly when they attach their names to a lawsuit. We do not take these allegations lightly. However, fairness to the accused is equally as important. And next part of the statement. Again, I quote, opposing counsel has orchestrated a circus-like atmosphere by using social media to publicize 14 Jane Doe lawsuits during the past 7 days in a manner calculated to inflame the public and malign Deshaun's otherwise sterling reputation. In addition, the tactic of refusing our request to confidentially provide the names of the plaintiffs so we can fully investigate their claims makes uncovering the truth extremely difficult. Anonymity is often necessary as a shield for victims, but opposing counsel has used it as a sword to publicly humiliate Deshaun before the truth-seeking process can even begin. Next part of the statement, and again, I quote, I believe that any allegations that Deshaun forced a woman to commit a sexual act is completely false. And in the one case in which we have been able to identify a plaintiff, we have strong evidence showing the allegation is false. In January of this year, a woman attempted to blackmail Deshaun by demanding $30,000 in exchange for her quote unquote infinite silence about what she stated was a consensual encounter. It is our belief that this woman is the plaintiff in case number, and then they give a case number. This calls into question the legitimacy of the other cases as well. Next part of the statement, and I quote, we have received numerous unsolicited comments in the past week from many licensed massage therapists who have worked with Deshaun in recent years. These women describe him as a gentleman, as a model client who never engaged in inappropriate conduct. Indeed, before these salacious claims, everyone who associated with Deshaun described him as an outstanding, respectful, and compassionate man. That's all I got. That's all I got. End quote. In a further comment, Attorney Rusty Hardin admitted that Deshaun had sexual relations with some of the women involved. That was eye-opening. Not judging, I'm not condemning. It does not prove guilt. It does not even prove innocence without other facts and evidence involved. But that was eye-opening. That was somewhat shocking for me. Again, no judgment, no condemnation. I'm just stating what it was for me, and what I just read you was in its entirety the statement that was released by Attorney Rusty Hardin. There are a couple of things in there that I agree with. There are a couple of things in there I don't agree with. The things that I agree with, Tony Busby has definitely made this a circus. If this is what litigation looks like for anything, let alone sexual assault, I get why people, not just women, men are sexually assaulted as well. I get why people are reluctant to come forward. I get that it's a high-profile case. but I don't know how in any way the way it's been done. And I'm not, again, not at all talking about the victims, alleged. Not talking about them. Talking about the attorney. I don't understand how this can help the case. I mean, first of all, it's civil. So I'm not sure how that works. I'm working on trying to get an attorney on the show. In a civil case, do you have a jury? I know they're judges, but do you have a jury that will rule in favor of either the plaintiff or the the people that are bringing the charges? There's no way in the world that this kind of social media, television, radio can't taint a possible jury pool and inflame the possible outcome before it ever gets started. And, Tony Busby's no rookie. He knows what he's doing. And then the fact that there was somebody who wanted money before any of this ever started to be silent about a consensual situation. If Tony Busby has that person included, I mean, he's literally jeopardizing all of their cases, not just hers. I see a phone call. I'll take it right after this.
Listen carefully to this important message. Are you tired of struggling with monthly bookkeeping or always being behind? Maybe you're fed up with paying your CPA ridiculously high hourly rates for subpar services. At Finance Pal, we know your pain. We're small business owners who understand your tax and accounting needs. At Finance Pal, we take over your books and design a program custom tailored to fit your needs. Whether it's bookkeeping, payroll, bill pay, inventory tracking, or taxes, we have you covered. We handle some or all of these services for one flat, affordable, low monthly fee. Stop worrying about your books and drowning in paperwork. Let us worry while you focus on growing your business. This setup is easy, and we give you the tools and technology to make your monthly finances streamlined and organized. Call now for a free business assessment.
800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. That's 800-213-9527.
Yeah. KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM.
I'm Ben Tankett, and you are listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all, we back here on it, the lunch break on the legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM. It is Winning Wednesday. Let me go to the phone line. Ferdinand, caller year 2017, standing by. What's up, Ferdinand?
Brother AJ and to the lunch breakers. Hey, you asked the question on their juries for the civil cases?
Yes.
Absolutely. I served on one, and we didn't rule in favor of the one that was suing. We went merely on what was on the table. The facts that we ruled on those, those facts that just didn't rule in that favor. So, I mean, if it goes to trial, it definitely can be a jury on the panel.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So thank you for educating me because I just don't know.
Yeah. I've been there, did that, and served for I think a whole week.
Yeah. And let me say this. I appreciate your service. I had to have a discussion with some folks, brothers and sisters, about, juries and outcomes and juries of our peers. And I had to tell them, stop trying to get out of jury duty. When you get out of jury duty, you take you out of the equation. And that jury pool can be filled with someone who doesn't look like you, who doesn't think like you, who may rule against, someone that you think should not be ruled against. And all we can do is complain about it then. Serve on your jury. Stop getting out of it.
Yeah, it does help to serve. And we know that the money is not feasible for your time, but you could really save a life of somebody who really needs you. I didn't like it at first. It seemed like they would call me way more than they should. But I still took the time out to go down and see was I either accepted or rejected from being on jury duty. So it is a civic duty that we all should do, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
All right, that's all. I just want to help you with that, my brother.
All right, brother. I appreciate the call as always, Ferdinand. Be safe out there.
All right, bye.
All right, so I'm my own caller ID, so let me answer this call before I put it on the air. I know it's bad radio, but hello, you're live on the radio. Who's this? Hello? They hung up. All right, so yeah. Let me get my guest on, Jenny Dial. I'm not in the big time athletic studios where I got caller ID. I got an engineer running the board who can answer the calls for me. I got to do it all myself, Jenny. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
You also have my cats walking across, and my dog will probably jump up here. There might be a 2-year-old at some point. It's real exciting around here too. Let me tell you.
I understand this new normal is kind of interesting. I was telling you yesterday that I had to put a suit on a couple of days ago, and I was like, "What? Huh? Really?"
Yeah.
So, but ladies and gentlemen, I got Dial joining me here on the lunch break. She is with The Athletic. She is the Deputy Managing Director, NBA at The Athletic. And Jenny, first of all, I don't think I fully congratulated you for that move from the Houston Chronicle.
Thank you.
To The Athletic. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. It's been a crazy year. It was obviously really tough to leave the Chronicle. I have nothing but great things to say about. I'm still a subscriber. Love all those guys. It was just a really good opportunity and a good move for me, and has proven to be. I got promoted to being a national NBA editor, which is my passion. So I'm pretty excited about it, how it's all worked out despite the craziest year ever.
Man, I tell you what, I'm loving it. I'm going to call you my new insider. Adrian is great, but hey, I got a Jenny Dial Creech, so I'm exactly where I need to be.
There you go.
How many years did you put into the Houston Chronicle?
14.
Wow.
14 years. It was a really, really tough decision. I really can't say enough about. I obviously stayed there for 14 years. Other opportunities, came up throughout the years, and I felt really passionate about the work we were doing, and I still do. I think they do a great job, and I think local papers are essential, and that everybody should subscribe. It was just, like I said, just a really great opportunity and a chance for me to do something a little bit different that gave me a little bit more flexibility with my home and family life, and I have a second child on the way, so you have to start thinking about how much you can actually be home sometimes, and it's really been good. I think The Athletic is incredible. The work we do is wonderful, and it's really cool to work on stories that go to a national audience. I think that's something that I've always wanted to do, and that's been a lot of fun for me.
Well, congratulations to you, my friend. Well deserved. Again, you are truly one of my favorites, and I'm not just saying that because you're on the air. I call myself your security firm, man. I love it. I'm jumping in there. I got to get them. Jenny,
and that's so appreciated all these years. I love it.
Seriously, too. So, listen, I obviously, some of this stuff, I know you cover basketball, but the stuff going on with Deshaun, I know you covered the Texans for a long, long time. You wrote extensively about similar situations going on at Baylor. I know that from a couple of different angles, this one is near and dear to you. What are your thoughts on what you've heard and what you know so far?
Yeah, this is crazy. And really until February, I was still the Houston editor and working really close with Aaron Reese on the Texans, and he and I still talk all the time. In fact, I had him as a guest this morning in my UH class, sports journalism class that I teach. Aaron was our guest, and as you can imagine, we talked a lot about the Deshaun Watson case and the ways to cover it, because it is something that I think we run into more and more now as sports journalists. The job no longer is just covering sports. We don't just cover what happens on the field or on the court. So I think I'm grateful in some ways to have the experience that I have in knowing how to cover these situations. And I think that I do them ethically and do them well. I also understand how difficult that is. And I think it's going to be a big part of this industry moving forward, because I think we've learned over the years that the sports audience does hold players and does hold coaches and owners and everybody accountable, athletic directors, they want to know that these things are going on. And I think it's important to put that out there and to do it the right way, to work off of facts and to not just spout out your opinion and to not put everything out there that comes from an anonymous source. Right. All of that is so important. And Aaron's doing a fantastic job covering it if you guys aren't following it. And I've read every word that he's written so far. I've read every word of every lawsuit so far. I've seen every statement put out, and this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I can tell you that. I think there's going to be more of these that come out. I think you have two lawyers, two very high profile attorneys in this town that are, purposely making sure that this is Busby certainly, wanted to get this out there in the court of public opinion, which we see a lot in these cases. You sometimes get the press involved just to get people talking. And I think it's a strategy that we see a lot at this level, certainly. I'll just say this, I have learned over the years that nothing is ever what it seems on the surface. It's really important to listen to all the sides. Just because this is Tony Busby and he's posting it on Instagram and it's a little kind of a wacky way to present it, doesn't dismiss that you have all these women who have very similar stories that are lining up. What we also know is generally the women are the ones who have more to lose in these cases. We know athletes are going to get a second chance and people are going to love them no matter what. In fact, and I'm not saying Deshaun Watson did anything or didn't. I mean, it's still too early to know anything. But I think what we do know is not only do athletes get second chances a lot if they have done something wrong, it's often built up as a redemption story. Look what this guy overcame, which I hate the redemption story about it. Quite frankly, I just think that that's a narrative that needs to go away. But the women, if their names ever come out, are, harassed forever by fans with it. I mean, and that can be, online, it can be in person. They can lose their jobs. These are women who are all massage therapists that some of them brand new who had no experience with athletes at all, which is one of the things that makes this so suspect when you have so many of them that were sought out despite the fact they'd never worked on an athlete before. That's a bizarre pattern of behavior that he was finding women on Instagram, right? So I think they have a lot more to lose. They have their careers and livelihoods. And so I think when victims of any kind come forward, it's a scary thing to do. It's a brave thing to do. And we do need to be open-minded and listen no matter how, squeaky clean we think the athlete might be. I also think it's important to remember, as some of this comes to light, doesn't erase that Deshaun Watson has done a lot of great things, has done a lot of good for the community. These things don't exist in a vacuum, and that's what makes it so complicated and makes it so difficult is that, we don't have to, it's certainly not up to us to decide what happens to the guy. But I do think as sports fans and as people who, follow these teams, pay really good money to see them and to support them, we are allowed to ask questions and we are allowed to hold these players accountable. And like me as a mother I have one son and another on the way, I think I'm allowed to, have opinions on how much we worship these guys in my home, certainly. And I think, that's something that we should all, sports have a lot of moral and ethical issues floating around in them. And I think it's responsible to ask yourself these questions, especially in a case like this that brings so many of them up.
Yeah, no, I am in total agreement with you, Jenny, especially with what goes on in our homes. We'll talk more about that. I got to take a quick break. I've got Jenny Creech joining us from The Athletic. We'll be right back with her right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
Here's an important COVID-19 school system update for your local area. If you're concerned about your child's education, please pay close attention to this message. Current school systems were not set up for at-home learning. If you're worried that your child may not be getting the grades they need to get ahead, maybe losing self-confidence, or you're worried about them getting into a good college because of their grades, help is available to you. Call Grade Potential Tutoring. They can help with in-home or online tutoring and help your child with any subject and every grade level, even for test prep. They're experts in the home tutoring and online tutoring field and confident they can help you and your child get better grades today. Call now for your free consultation. 800-580-7680. 800-580-7680. 800-580-7680. That's 800-580-7680.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Two radio stations in one.
I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
You probably heard it before, but one of the best ways to stay safe from COVID is by avoiding crowds. That's better. Also, when you're out in public, make sure you stay 6 feet away from strangers or people you don't live with. It's okay to say, "Can I have some space, please?"
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much.
If you're going to have a get-together with friends and family, have it outside. And remember to keep those 6 feet of social distance. And last but not least, wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth with no gaps. They slow the spread of COVID or new forms of the virus called variants. And make sure you get your vaccine when it's your turn. We're all out here trying our best, and it's making a difference. We just got to keep it up. We can do this.
To learn more about slowing the spread, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This is Brian Courtney Wilson, and you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Winning Wednesday. It's Women's History Month, and I got one of the best in the business, bar none. Jenny Dow Creech, Deputy Managing Director, NBA with The Athletic, here on the show. Jenny, again, thanks for making time for us.
Yeah, of course.
We were talking before the break about the situation with Deshaun, and you said something very interesting, and I agree with you that, holding athletes to this pedestal, this, almost there's no way that they can do that. I've seen this guy, I've followed him. I've said it. I've followed this guy since high school, and there's just no way. But the reality is we know what we see. We don't often know what we don't see. And sometimes those things can be a whole different story. I was surprised when attorney Rusty Hardin released that Deshaun had sexual relations with some of the women involved. I didn't think that would have been the case, but apparently it is. So no judgment, no condemnation, doesn't mean guilt or innocence, but that was shocking to me. And when you said that, it's like, exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I try to tell people this all the time that aren't in our business and don't, have never been behind the scenes and never been around athletes, up close. Even us, like, I think about when I was the Rockets beat writer and how much time I spent around, the Toyota Center and practice and the locker room and around those guys. I mean, to the point that you're friendly with so many of them. And I genuinely like several of the people that I've covered, but that, even all of that time, it's a small fraction of my day and a small fraction of theirs. And I am being a reporter and they are being the athlete talking to a reporter. And that is what the general public sees. So you're seeing 3 minutes of someone's 24 hours of a day. If you're going to try to assume that you know a lot about that person based on that, that's really presumptuous of any of us. So I think, and remember, like, if I'm interviewing James Harden he's smart enough to know, like, he's talking to a reporter. Do you think he's going to go tell me, like, deep, dark secrets and things that are going on behind the scenes? Of course not. Why would he? Like, why would anybody do that? I wouldn't do that with someone I know casually at work for a few minutes a day. So I think it's important to remember, like, I think it's fine to like look at an athlete and be amazed by what they can do. Yeah, I mean, it's special. It takes a special person to pull off what athletes are doing, to play physically, whatever the sport may be, like something that's so hard on them, and the dedication you have to have, and the competition level that you have to have. They are wired differently to be that good and that elite, to be at the professional level of something. It's true. So for me to assume, as someone who's not a professional athlete, that I have any of the same life experiences or any of the same mentality, it's very presumptuous. I do the best that I can to try to paint the best picture that I can with the access that I have. And I think that we certainly get a good glimpse into our idols, into these people that are doing these things that we can't do. Like, I'll never be Serena Williams. I adore the ground she walks on because I think everything that she does is magical, because I'll never be able to do that at that level. But do I know anything about her? Really? No. Like, I've never even had a conversation. We aren't friends. I can't, as much as I think the world of her, there's nothing that would shock me that would come out. I mean, look at Tiger Woods, look at Kobe Bryant, look at all these people that we put on giant pedestals because they're superhero-like, right? Because of the things they can do. I think it's important to also keep a certain amount of realism there, that, even the people we do know really well and the people we love can disappoint us, and that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad fan. It doesn't make you a traitor if you're upset that you hear about something. It's okay to say, like, if these things are true about Deshaun Watson, that's really inappropriate behavior that I'm not okay with. Doesn't make him bad at football. It doesn't, like your opinion of the person. But I do think then, like I said, you then get the choice as a fan for how far your support goes. Maybe you still cheer for the Texans and you want them to win, and you hope they work something out and he plays. But it's certainly okay if you're like, I'm probably not going to go out and buy his jersey now, or whatever, whatever your line is. But I think it's, if we're going to hear about all the good stuff they're doing, I think it's okay to hear about the rest of it and to hold them accountable. And I think these stories are also important because when this kind of stuff, again, not knowing what's true and what's not in this particular case, which is very new, but when this kind of stuff comes out, we're building toward eradicating it and making a safer space for women. And that's ultimately what we want. Like, I've grown up in a world where I've always had to be a little bit worried about any man I'm near, because you just don't know. And I'd love to see that go away. That's the goal, right? So putting these things out in the forefront and putting these behaviors out there and this power struggle that men and women have, I think it's important just for the sheer case of like all doing our part to make things better in general for everybody.
Let me ask you a question. We got Jenny Creech joining us here on the lunch break from The Athletic. Do you have any curiosity about the coincidental timing of all of this? And again, I know that's one of the questions out there. And then question two would be that I keep getting: what would the organization gain from being involved in this in any kind of way?
Yeah, I mean, I hear that too. I understand the timing is suspect, but I think you could almost say that anytime. Like, if it was happening while he was on a 5-game winning streak and up for MVP, there'd be people that would question that timing as well, right? So, yes, there's a few things that I question. I don't like Busby's approach of let's put this on Instagram first. I understand that that's a strategy that attorneys use, but I don't like it personally, because I think it makes it a little bit more of a spectacle and takes away from, let's just listen to these lawsuits and these cases from these women, which, that's what the journalist in me, I'm on a fact-finding mission. That's what I want to see. So I don't need the circus, and I don't need the bells and whistles in the way that this is done. And unfortunately, that's how it's going to be with these two attorneys. That's how they're going to play it. And I mean, Busby has sort of forced Rusty Hardin's hand in that. I don't know that Rusty would have done it that way in the first place, but it's out there, and that's how they're doing it. Watson went on Instagram and responded. I don't like that. I don't think that he ever should have done that. So there's just a lot of that is suspect and is questionable about the way it's been handled so far. But that's where I would tell people, these lawsuits are public. You can read the language, you can read the verbiage, you can read what's said. And if it's one or two people, okay, like have your doubts or whatever, but I think it's up to 16 as of this morning. And when you see some of the comparisons that are being drawn in these stories, and there's, you can think what you want of Busby. Like, I thought it was, whack job for him to put up billboards of Johnny Manziel a few years ago. Like, I get it. Like, I get it. He's a character. I get that. But he is an attorney who's done really well. That's why he's in the position that he's in. And, this stuff, these contacts and these text messages, there's a digital footprint, and that's, you can point to that. So it's hard. You can't completely throw this out. And when you look at a professional athlete, the caliber of Deshaun Watson, hiring so many different women for massage therapy, okay, but so many without any experience massaging a professional athlete, when you have all the best resources in the world available to you. I mean, at some point you have to question this a little bit, and you have to acknowledge the fact that maybe neither side is telling the whole truth. The truth lies somewhere in the middle usually, but there are some red flags here, and there are some things to look at. And so I would just urge anybody who is looking for a conspiracy theory here to, again, go back to the facts, go back to what we know, what's been filed in the court. I mean, there's a lot of, I've heard things from sources being like, well, I know X, Y, and Z, people talking about consent. Unless you're the young woman or the young man in the room, you are not a viable source on consent at all. So when I'm seeing these, I've seen them in local media today. I've seen it come out like, well, sources say this was consensual. Unless your sources are Deshaun Watson and the woman, you cannot comment on consent, because consent goes both ways. Even if one of them thought it was and the other didn't, even if it started consensual and became, then it's not. Yeah. So I think that that's a slippery slope journalistically to report those things. And so I would just urge anybody following this to kind of keep all of that in mind as, an intelligent consumer of media, to really look for those things. Where can we point to things that are facts? We can look at documents that have been filed in court. We can certainly look at what the lawyers have put out there, but always keep in mind that all of this is written by people that are trying to benefit, their clients. And so, like I said, I think this will go on for a little while. I think, the Texans in general, if you talk about the timing of it, the timing of this wouldn't have been good any time in the last 2 years, because we've known that there's been some, Deshaun being concerned about his situation. There's been reports of that for two seasons now. So when's the right time to come out with it, right? So I would just urge people, don't get too caught up in that. Stick to the facts, stick to the good, reputable reporting that's out there, and follow those things, and more will come to light. It will.
Yeah.
Always does. Might take a while, but it always does.
I appreciate you on that because, again, you've been in this business for a minute. You are one of the trusted ones out there, and that's good advice. That's good sage advice. Can I have one more break, please? One more break, and I know you got to go.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
All right, let me take a quick break. I know I got a call standing right there. We'll come right back after these two quick ones right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
Now, in-home or in-office do-it-yourself COVID-19 testing is available to you, and the results are 99% accurate. Save your time and be safe by avoiding the lines and crowds. You can test yourself and your family members at home. Test your employees at work, making sure your workplace is safe. Simply call Citation Bioscience at the number we're about to give you to order your COVID-19 testing kits. When they arrive, follow the simple instructions and send them back to us with our prepaid shipping. Results are ready the next day in 95% of the cases. And remember, they are 99% accurate and reimbursable by your insurance company. Save your time, stay safe, and avoid the crowds. Order your COVID-19 kits now by calling this number now. Pricing starts at $119 and discounts are available for larger orders. Call now. 800-247-8046. 800-247-8046. That's 800-247-8046.
Do you watch television? Of course you do. Then have you tried Dish TV from All American Dish yet? No? Well, now is a great time because we're giving everyone that calls today a 2-year locked-in price. Your rate will not change for 2 years. The clock is ticking. Call now, get Dish, and get your price locked in for 2 years and save yourself some money. Dish has your favorite TV programs, even Netflix and Amazon Prime built into the DVR. You can even watch Dish anywhere you have an internet connection. Plus, we've even got awesome discounts for the military and seniors. Oh, and one more thing. Call All American Dish now and we'll even give you a free Google TV voice remote, free installation, and free equipment. Don't wait. Call All American Dish now.
800-296-1302. 800-296-1302. 800-296-1302. That's 800-296-1302.
My name is Devon McDonald from Jamaica. Play with Indianapolis Colts. And listen, you listen to the lunch break.
All right, y'all. We're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. I've got Jenny Dow Creech joining us. She's a deputy director.
The NBA, it's a long title.
Yeah, I like it. For the Athletic. I like that. Look, make my title this long. I'm all right. I'm all right with that. Jenny, we got a quick phone call. Let's see who this is, and then I want to ask you some NBA-related questions. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Hi, it's Keith Hennig.
Caller of the year 2020. What's going on, Keith Hennig?
Well, I have questions. Welcome, Ms. Creech. You're a very interesting guest.
Uh-oh.
I am not a lawyer. I spent some time in law school, but I am not a lawyer. The allegations against Deshaun Watson, i.e. sexual assault and sodomy, are felony offenses. Is that correct?
Yes. If they go through as charges right now, everything is civil. Everything is just a civil complaint. So there's been no criminal charges made at all. So there can be no, federal offense or misdemeanor, any of that yet, because he hasn't been investigated by police. None of these have been investigated by police yet. It's all civil suits in civil court.
That is my question. If you are sexually assaulted, why do you call an attorney rather than the police department?
There's a lot of reasons. There's been a lot of studies on this and a lot of research, and a lot of it is, at the time that these happened, and some of this is written in the language of the lawsuit, verbally, these women were probably scared and again, it's a power struggle. He's a, high profile guy. They can lose their jobs. They can lose their credibility. And they probably agreed to him verbally not to say something. And I think, you see that a lot with, and I'm not, again, I don't want to say that Deshaun Watson is guilty because we just don't know anything. And I don't want to speculate on that. But I do know that victims of abuse, whether it be domestic abuse, sexual abuse, child abuse, often wait weeks, months, even years to be able to feel strong enough to say something, because there is a mental abuse that goes into that too, where you're questioning yourself. Did I misread this situation? Did I do something wrong? What vibes did I put out there that made him think it was okay? And we know this now just from years of victims talking to doctors about these things. There's something chemical, that happens in your brain that makes you really question, is it worth coming forward? Will my name get put out there? And if it does, what will my family think? And what will my friends think that are fans of Deshaun Watson? Will they hate me forever? Am I going to be shunned by society? There's just so much that goes into it. And so oftentimes you see these victims contact a lawyer first, or a close friend, or a therapist, or someone who then might encourage them and say, you do have a criminal case on your hands. But yeah, I mean, I wish everybody could feel strong enough to immediately go to the police. I wish that everyone's experience when they go to the police was, happens the way it's supposed to happen, which is not always the case. We see that a lot in these college cases of this, where a university police department might tell a woman sitting there who's, had a crime committed against her that night, you might have a police say, well, this is going to be he said, she said, so are you sure? Rather than just take the report and get her the help that she needs. And so when you have these kind of patterns that arise, you start to see a lot of women who will never, ever come forward. I mean, so many of these crimes are never, ever brought forward at all. Most people just pack them down and try to move on and deal with, the emotions that they're going to feel forever. The majority of these crimes are never reported because of that, because of the victim blaming and victim shaming that often comes with that. And I do think this is getting better. I think that police departments are well equipped to handle this now. In some cases, they just didn't know what to say. I think that hospitals are, where you can get a rape kit done. There are steps in the right direction to help, fix this problem. But that generally is why you see some delayed time before these things come out. Yeah. And you also see when one of them comes out, you often see other victims come forward because they go, I'm not crazy. This happened to someone else, and I'm not the only one in there. It makes you feel more comfortable coming forward with your own story.
Yeah. Keith, I appreciate the questions, man. And
thank you, Keith.
I appreciate it. I'll look forward to the outcome, and thanks for having a very interesting and informative show today. I really appreciate that.
No problem, Keith. He's always one of the best. Keith Hennick, Caller of the Year 2020, and fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he called that one.
Oh, nice. Good year for him.
Before we got to let you go, obviously the Rockets are in one of the toughest seasons that we've seen them in. Yes. I mean, I had to tell my listeners, this is the first time that I can remember the Rockets really rebuilding since Elijah Wan and Drexler were replaced by Barkley and Pippen and that crew. And ever since then, there was Stevie Francis, there was Tracy McGrady, a Yao Ming, James Harden and crew. And now this team is really rebuilding. What are your thoughts about right now? And what do you expect to have happen before tomorrow's trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be some trades. Look, so much happened to the Rockets at once. When you lose your coach and general manager within a month of each other, who have both done a phenomenal job in this market, that's really tough. And I think the world of Steven Silas. I want to go on the record saying that. I think that was a tremendous hire, and I'm really looking forward to what he can do when things are built. But if you're a new head coach coming into a situation and then you don't have a GM, I mean, you do have a GM, but you don't have the experienced GM that's been moving all these pieces for years. These things can take a little bit of time. And obviously then you lose your star player in the midst of that. I think it's just a lot. That's a lot to fight against. And then throw on top of that, you're in a pandemic year playing with very few fans to fire you up. I do think that stuff matters. I think that environment and home court advantage plays a role. And I think this is just, I mean, it's just a bad year. It's a bad year. I do think they can rebuild and get something together. We've seen teams do it over and over again. I don't think they're going to go in the way of like 76ers. We need 10 years to rebuild this thing.
Right.
I think that they'll try to, yeah, they'll do it faster. I mean, Tillman is a guy who wants to win, so I think he's going to be willing to make the moves to get them there. And I wholeheartedly believe in, I mean, look at the Mavericks offense that Silas was basically running. I think that he can get something going here with the right players, and I think the players believe in him and want to win for him. But yeah, this is going to take, I mean, it's not going to turn around this season by any means. Right. So they're not going to turn around and have a 20-game win streak. But hopefully things will start to get better, and then they'll have, he'll have the whole off season that is not cut short. That is not like a crazy, we only have a few weeks and then the season's starting. He'll actually have time to build some chemistry and build this team back up. And I really do want to see that. I want to see that for Silas and these players and this city. I've really obviously enjoyed watching the Rockets over the past several years and seeing what they've built and how the city has responded to that. So I really hope that works out. I'm genuinely rooting for things to get a lot better for the Rockets.
So I went on record yesterday and said, this Rockets team, after March 26th, whoever that is, whoever they pick up in the draft, I went on record, Jenny. I said, we'll be in the playoffs next season. I said, it's not going to take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. This team, healthy, COVID-free, whoever they got, young players, whatever, I believe they'll be back in the playoffs next year, one of the top 8 next year.
I mean, it definitely could happen. It's always so hard to say, like, you never know what's going to happen with the injury. Like you said, if they're healthy, that goes such a long way for anybody. Look at the Lakers. Like, the Lakers, we thought they'll probably repeat, and now we're like, they're in trouble. Like, right. LeBron and Anthony Davis are hurt. Like, this is bad news. So you just never really know. But there's no reason they can't be. There's no reason that they can't get it together and get things going right. The West is still going to be tough. I mean, the NBA in general is so tough. Like, it's the highest level of basketball you can play in the world. So making the playoffs is no easy feat. But I do believe that Silas deserves the time and the chance to build something, and I think he will. Yeah.
All right, Jenny, here's the last deal. It's Women's History Month. I know you've had some amazing women that have inspired you, that have, kind of been that role model along the way. Yeah. I don't want to end it on a negative note with what's going on in the NCAA. I will get on when you are nowhere around, and trust me, I will get him. Talk to me about in your career and just some great women out there that are doing amazing work.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Like, get out there and follow women doing this job. There's so many. I think for me growing up, there wasn't a female that wrote for the local paper in San Antonio, and I was just fortunate enough and there weren't many on TV. There was a couple, and I certainly appreciated that. But I think things like 1999, the women's soccer team, the U.S. women's soccer team. I think about the first couple years of the WNBA. I think about those women too, along with women covering sports, just women's sports being on the forefront and kind of showing us or even like the 96 Olympics. You think about that. That was a big point for me. I was in high school at the time, and I think, I don't know, those are kind of the moments that really make you think as a young female, like, there's a spot for me in the sports world. And then obviously as I got older, and I went to college at the University of Oklahoma, and there were no women covering sports there. The fact that I had a lot of men along the way say, absolutely, you can do it. Like, and my parents never flinching when I said I wanted to do it. And then as I've gotten older and in the business and been able to meet so many amazing ones, like, before I became a columnist, I would read anything that Sally Jenkins or Chris Brennan or any of those ladies had to write. Ann Killian in San Francisco, I think, is amazing. Doris Burke, like the best.
I love what she's doing right now too. By the way, her color games is amazing. I love it.
100%. I mean, I could go on all day and just name women, but I'll say like the coolest part about, I mean, just even in our city, Christy Rican is amazing, who works for the AP, Julia Morales, who's with the Astros. Like we're lucky to have Tracy Hughes, who's the PR person for the Rockets. I think she does an amazing job. Like there's so many great women working in this business. And I think the greatest thing about it is the support that we feel from each other. Sarah Barshop, who covers the Texans in this area, Houston has a really nice media contingent. We support each other, we look out for each other, and there's room for all of us. It doesn't have to be a competition for the one spot for a woman. And I'm proud of how far I've come because there's enough men who recognize that, and because there's so many women in this business that we care about each other and look out for each other and truly support each other. And I think we're all better for it. So absolutely. Yeah. I think it's awesome. It's great to kind of be part of this sisterhood, certainly.
Yeah. Bailey Martin says, Jenny is definitely a role model. I love you, Jen. So,
thanks. I love you too. Thank you.
We've got to get ready to go, and I know you got to go. Tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow you, and keep up with all the amazing work that you do, Jenny.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Jenny Dial Creech. Really creative name there, huh? And then working at The Athletic. Follow The Athletic NBA. I think the stuff our writers are doing right now is just phenomenal. And if you're a Rockets fan, it doesn't get a lot better than Kelly Iko. And I say that knowing, like, also follow Jonathan Fagan because he's one of my favorite people in the world still at the Chronicle. But really, like, our team of NBA writers across the board at The Athletic is as good as it gets. So definitely check us out. And there's a lot of really, really good content there if you like basketball. So
I got to put you on the hot seat before you go. Give me your final four in the NBA. 2 from the East, 2 from the West.
Oh, I thought you meant like my final four with my bracket. And I was like, well, that was busted last week.
We don't talk about brackets on this show.
I have UH in my final. I have Gonzaga and UH playing each other, so maybe I still have a chance. But
still got a shot.
I still have a chance. The other two, I don't. I'm just gonna pretend those parts of the brackets don't exist. Gosh, it's so hard not knowing when LeBron's gonna be back because I would have said the Lakers, right? Like, I mean, how could you not? Oh, I don't know. It's
the Lakers and who?
I wish we were talking about this next week after the trade deadline too. Look, I think Utah is kind of scary. I do. I don't know if they have the experience to kind of get to the end, but they're playing some really, really good basketball. So Utah is a team to look out for. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Lakers, assuming they get LeBron back soon. Since he and Davis didn't have, any injuries bad, but they are injuries that are going to ruin their seasons. I think I'd still lean toward the Lakers. And then it's going to kill Rockets fans, but the Nets, I just think like with the addition of Harden, they really look good. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't trade him. I didn't do it. And then I think, another dagger for Rockets fans, the Sixers,
Yep.
And I'm happy for Morey. He got promoted to go there and I'm excited for him, but yeah, I think what Rivers has done there is great. They look really good too. So, but you know what? I am just excited that we're going to have the playoffs, that we have March Madness, that there's all this basketball to watch. After last year, I'm very grateful that we're just able to watch. I'm not even mad about like my bracket being ruined because I'm watching basketball a lot right now, and that didn't happen last year.
Jenny, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for making time for us. Please stay safe. Take care of my nephew and my future niece or nephew, and I look forward to talking to you real soon.
You too. Thanks so much. Always so good to catch up.
All right, y'all. Jenny Dow Creech from The Athletic. Y'all be sure and follow her. We're getting ready to get the first hour on the books, get the second hour underway right here on the legendary KYOK. If you got any questions about what we talked about, hit me up, 281-453-1000. That's 281-453-1000.
1140 AM, KYOK Conroe, and 92.3 FM, K222CX Houston.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers, who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
When you walk out on that field today, ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this kind of we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up the chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from that. He's a man. They can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. I'm proud when you step on the field, man. That's who I did. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready? I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
No, that's just the first hour on the books, second hour underway right here on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It's our Winning Wednesday. And just some quick sports updates. Looks like Tampa Bay is going to re-sign in Ndamukong Suh. Man, they are definitely keeping the band back together. And then the Cowboys will not re-sign Aldon Smith. I thought he had a pretty good year. But apparently the Cowboys are not bringing him back. So 48 tackles, 5 sacks, and a team high 14 quarterback hits during this season, first season back since 2015. Man, that was a low risk, high reward kind of scenario, but it doesn't look like the Cowboys are bringing him back. And then, of course, we've been talking about Deshaun Watson all morning. His attorney, Russie Harding, released a statement on behalf of the quarterback saying that the attorney, Tony Busby, for the women is turning this into a circus type environment. Hardin also claimed that one of the women tried to get $30,000 from Watson before this even happened. He also revealed that Watson had consensual sexual relationships with some of the women that are alleging sexual assault. And, I am trying to be very, like Jenny said, I'm trying to stick with the facts, not put my own opinion out there. I have done that. I'm trying to take a step back from that. So if you see me kind of walking some things back, that's what I'm doing. So at least I am willing to say that, whereas others will just do it and act like they didn't say the other thing before that. But anyway, not a good situation for anyone involved. My thoughts are that everyone should and will have their day in court, and we'll go from there. and we'll go from there. I did see someone yesterday post on Facebook a inbox message that they got supposedly, because I mean you can alter anything, but you know, I'm just saying this person is not a part of the suits or anything like that, but she posted an inbox message from Deshaun and then stated that he was on the prowl with her and that he must have recognized some kind of anointing on her life and what have you. And I'm thinking to myself, A, I haven't been accused of anything. B, you didn't take the appointment, so how can we stretch and say we know what he was going to do? Innocent until proven guilty. And that's my thing. The court of public opinion is rough. And I'm talking about what I know and not what I heard. I had a few people say, didn't like what I said or did or whatever. And all of a sudden they hit their internet and social media and some of my followers and what have you. And it was, oh, he's this, he's not what he presents himself to be. So I know how it can go. I don't know how it is on Deshaun's level. And it's tough for these women too. In whatever way they've been affected, it's tough for them too. To put yourself in this position is tough. It's heart-wrenching. Like Jenny stated very well, some rape victims go weeks, months, and even years before they can even speak up about it. And I'm not the one to judge and say, hey, what took you so long? I can't be. Can't be. I don't know the mental anguish that they went through. I don't know the fear that their attacker put in their lives or their hearts. So let's let this play out. So Dabo Sweeney has weighed in, talked about knowing Deshaun since he was a freshman in high school. I want to say I started following Deshaun about his junior year. He started rising up on the rankings. Hey, and a couple of colleagues and I follow college athletics around the country, not just in the state, but around the country. And they started talking about, hey, man, have you seen this kid from Gainesville, Georgia? It's like, nah, who's this? He's like, man, this cat has only lost like a game at the time. He had only lost one game in his high school career at the time. And I was like, man, Deshaun Watson, man, that dude, young brother. And, he was athletic, but he could throw the ball. Following him all that time, I still don't know him. I've talked to him a couple of times as, like Jenny said, as a reporter, but we ain't hung out. We haven't hung out. We haven't spent close buddy broham time together. Some things you don't know. Some people you don't know. Just because you see them every day doesn't mean you know them. And I know I'm probably, I'm going to stop. I've always said, when people say, I'm probably going to get killed for saying this, don't say it. Don't say it. I'm not going to say it. I was just going to say that. I'm not going to say it. 281-453-1000 if you want in. 281-453-1000. Let's see. The Rockets are going to host Charlotte tonight at 7, looking for their second win in a row after ending their 20-game losing streak. Charlotte, of course, is going to be without LaMelo Ball due to a broken wrist. Spurs are going to host the Clippers tonight at 7:30. Oddly enough, the trade deadline is tomorrow, 2 o'clock our time, 2 o'clock Central. And DeMar DeRozan's name has been brought up in possible trades for the San Antonio Spurs. I didn't see that one coming. DeMar is having one of his better seasons in a long time. So the Spurs really ought to be able to get some value from him if they don't decide to keep him. I know they're probably going with a youth movement. They've already moved LaMarcus Aldridge. So just a matter of time, reportedly, before they move DeMar DeRozan. Of course, for the Rockets, Eric Gordon and Victor Oladipo are the two that they're expected to move. There are a lot of teams that want some of these young players. Jayshawn Tate has been mentioned. Kenyon Martin Jr. has been mentioned. Sterling Brown has been mentioned. And the Rockets want to keep some of that young nucleus. Rockets might move DJ Augustine, but they're not trying to move Christian Wood You know, they're not trying to move Kevin Porter Jr. They're not trying to move those guys. That's going to be the nucleus of this young team. So we'll see. By 2 o'clock tomorrow, we'll know what's what, who's what, and then what. U of H going to take on Syracuse Saturday at 8:55 Central on TBS. No surprise to anybody. I'm not a fan of Jim Boeheim. Not a fan of Jim Boeheim. And not a fan of Syracuse. Go Cougars, go. Baylor going to take on Villanova Saturday at 4:15 Central on CBS. I got Baylor in that one, but Villanova's scary. Villanova, those Big East schools are scary. Tonight, the ladies get it going again. A&M will be on the court against Iowa State at 6 Central, and then UT will take on UCLA at 8. Some upsets last night on the women's side. I'll talk about a couple of those when we come back. Again, if you want in, 281-453-1000 or text me 832-403-5005. We'll be right back.
Attention business owners, listen carefully to this important message. Are you tired of struggling with monthly bookkeeping or always being behind? Maybe you're fed up with paying your CPA ridiculously high hourly rates for subpar services. At Finance Pal, we know your pain. We're small business owners who understand your tax and accounting needs. At Finance Pal, we take over your books and design a program custom tailored to fit your needs. Whether it's bookkeeping, payroll, bill pay, inventory tracking, or taxes, we have you covered. We handle some or all of these services for one flat, affordable, low monthly fee. Stop worrying about your books and drowning in paperwork. Let us worry while you focus on growing your business. This setup is easy, and we give you the tools and technology to make your monthly finances streamlined and organized. Call now for a free business assessment.
800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. That's 800-213-9527. Here's an important COVID-19 school system update for your local area. If you're concerned about your child's education, please pay close attention to this message. The current school systems were not set up for at-home learning. If you're worried that your child may not be getting the grades they need to get ahead, maybe losing self-confidence, or you're worried about them getting into a good college because of their grades, help is available to you. Call Grade Potential Tutoring. They can help with in-home or online tutoring and help your child with any subject at every grade level, even for test prep. They're experts in the home tutoring and online tutoring field and confident they can help you and your child get better grades today. Call now for your free consultation. 800-580-7680. 800-580-7680. 800-580-7680. That's 800-580-7680.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legend continues.
Before, but one of the best ways to stay safe from COVID is by avoiding crowds. That's better. Also, when you're out in public, make sure you stay 6 feet away from strangers or people you don't live with. It's okay to say, "Can I have some space, please?"
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much.
If you're gonna have a get-together with friends and family, have it outside. And remember to keep those 6 feet of social distance. And last but not least, wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth with no gaps. They slow the spread of COVID or new forms of the virus called variants. And make sure you get your vaccine when it's your turn. We're all out here trying our best, and it's making a difference. We just gotta keep it up. We can do this.
To learn more about slowing the spread, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Beautiful people, this is Major. This is why I love you on the lunch break.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our winning Wednesday, and appreciate Jenny Dial Creech, the deputy. Let me. I got to make sure I get this right. Deputy Managing Director for the Athletic on the NBA side, and I love that. I'm happy for her. Let me go to the phone line. Let me hold on. Let me do it the right way because Hello, you're on the lunch break. Who's this? Oh, okay, they hung up. See, that's you got to watch, folk. You got to watch, folk. They trying to get in, and I gotta cover this station. So if you're not calling to talk sports, bless you. God bless you. God bless you. All right. So a lot to discuss. I'm going to move off of the Deshaun Watson. I made a promise to Jenny Dial, and I'm going to keep it. Mark Emmert, the head of the NCAA, has been negligent in addressing the disparity between the men and the women in this year and previous years' March Madness tournament. I mean, just absolutely negligent. And let me go to a colleague of mine that's really been tracking it very well. I gotta read a letter that was sent by. Hold on. Might need to do it like that. Okay, stay there. Let me pull it up. I had to save it, and then that way I can spread it out and make it bigger. And all right, this letter was written by three of the players, and said, "Dear Dr. Mark Emmett, please read the player's response to your letter below. NCPA Executive Director says, thank you for responding to our meeting request. We're disappointed that you intend to delay the important conversation for at least 2 weeks. From our perspective, it's difficult to imagine any higher priority you may have at this time than addressing the concerns that are at the core of state and federal college athletics rights and legislation, an upcoming U.S. Supreme Court ruling on college athletics economics freedom, and the NCAA's ongoing discriminatory treatment of female basketball players in its tournament. Can you please explain what you will be doing over the next 2 weeks that is more important than addressing these matters?" Like, bro, you're not playing in any of these games. You're not refereeing any of these games. You're not coaching any of these games. You're not calling any of these games. You are like the head of the entire NCAA, and your dirty laundry is all out in the street. Like, you really tried to put a stack of dumbbells in a conference room and call that the weight room for the women. And then you got a whole banquet hall full of the latest, greatest, bestest, I know I made it up, weights and machines in the world for the men. You gave the women, what's those snacks that the Lunchables? You gave the women a Lunchables for them to eat, and the men got buffets with like real food on it. Swag bags for the men were loaded. It's like being on the red carpet at the Grammys and the swag bag for the women. I mean, for the men. And for the women, it's like they went to a kid's birthday party and they got one of those, little tied up plastic birthday bags with some candy, one of those Pez candy holders and a yo-yo. All I'm saying is, what is more important than talking about that? Okay, so now y'all made a better workout room for the women. And I guess somebody changed the menu at the hotel for the women. Here's the problem I have with all of it. If no one had said anything, it would have been okay. And I'm not coming out at the women that are in charge, whatever rank they are in the NCAA. But if they don't say anything, who will? Like, there's no way in the world you can't tell me that some executive director, vice president type saw the setup for the women versus the men before the players saw them. And if that was the case, why didn't you ring the alarm? Why didn't you ring the bell or sound the alarm? And I know there's dynamics that women have to go through that men don't, where you got to be careful how you handle yourself, what you call out, what have you, because you could sabotage your career. I get it. I get it. Almost like being black in corporate America. I get it. I said almost. You still got to say something. And if I hear after the fact that one of those ladies, one of those executives leaked it out to the player, hey, y'all need to, if y'all expose it, something will get done about it. If we expose it, it'll get covered up. It'll get buried. If I hear that, then okay, good. I understand. You got it done. Mission accomplished. But Mark Emmert can't sit this one out. He can't hide behind, oh, I'm busy running the NCAA March Madness tournament. You can't hide behind that. Like, there is nothing that you're putting a screw, you don't have a screwdriver in your hand to tighten nothing up. You don't have a hammer in your hand to hit nothing in place. There is absolutely nothing that Mark Emmert that is happening this weekend that Mark Emmert can't step away and address one of the biggest problems that has been facing the NCAA for a long time. There should not still be this kind of inequity and imbalance, disparity in sports between men and women. I mean, he is the head of the head. What he says goes. There's no way you can say, oh, yeah, it's okay. I mean, better say, it'd be better for him to say, I didn't know. And I still might not like that, but at least, well, he didn't know. Some lower level person decided that was the way to go. But now that he knows, he's fixing it. That ain't what he said. And now that players want to sit down and meet with him, he ain't got time for that. And then y'all get mad when I say, man, the players ought to not have time to play. Like, right in the middle of it. Like, I wouldn't be mad if a team goes out there, starts the game, and then walks off the court. What you gonna do? Oh, well, they need to pull their scholarships. They need to make them understand that, this ain't no pansy land and these kids want too much. To be treated equally? To be treated fairly? That ain't too much. That's not too much at all. Mark Emmert's got to be best or be gone. Like, he is one of the most ineffective, hadn't done a doggone thing since he's been in office, commissioners of the NCAA ever. It ain't political. It ain't racial. It's just this dude is inept. This dude has not been better for the game. 281-453-1000 if you want it. 281-453-1000. It's the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
Hi, I'm Linda J. I recently purchased 4 new tires from OMG Tires and More, located at 3124 Tidwell between 59 and Jensen. TK got me in and out in less than 30 minutes. While there, I got my car washed. Do you need rims for your car? OMG has them too. OMG Tires and More is your one-stop shop for all your tire needs. So give them a call at 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211. Conveniently located at 3124 Tidwell between 59 and Jensen on the north side.
Here's an important COVID-19 school system update for your local area. If you're concerned about your child's education, please pay close attention to this message. The current school systems were not set up for at-home learning. If you're worried that your child may not be getting the grades they need to get ahead, maybe losing self-confidence, or you're worried about them getting into a good college because of their grades, help is available to you. Call Grade Potential Tutoring. They can help with in-home or online tutoring and help your child with any subject and every grade level, even for test prep. They're experts in the home tutoring and online tutoring field and confident they can help you and your child get better grades today. Call now for your free consultation. 800-580-7680. 800-580-7680. 800-580-7680. That's 800-580-7680.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Radio stations in one.
I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
The lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
All right, y'all, we are back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It's Winning Wednesday, and I need to start calling this Women's Day Wednesday. I mean, really, you know, I got to give some love to the women. I got a text message. I'm not going to read the person's name because, you know how that goes. How about if I just do the number? 832-285. 832-285 left their name, and they said, AJ, everything doesn't have to be an uproar. You people in the media like to make a big deal about everything. When the women's sport starts bringing in the same revenue and ratings as the men, then they can expect to get the same kind of accommodations. It really isn't hard, businessman. Man, I'm so glad I'm not who I used to be. I really am. Listen, the new me just saved you from the old me. Because the old me would call your name out, post it up, and let you have it. Again, it's a sports talk show. You're entitled to your opinion. Don't have to call names or anything like that. Let me just say it like this. Here's the reality. The men's game makes so much money that it is not hard to allocate a good portion of it to the women's side. It's called allocation. I know, by you calling me a businessman, I know that you know business. It's called allocation and reallocation. You bring the money in. If it's not earmarked for something specific, then it could be spread out across your business so that everything is sufficient. And even if they just simply used the older equipment that the men used to use and put it in the women's facility, it was much nicer than that stack of dumbbells that they had in there. And oh yeah, by the way, I'm sure that they didn't just rent out a conference room in the women's hotel, right? Like they rented out the whole thing. Every team has its own floor. So that same kind of ballroom in the hotel that the women are staying in, it's not hard to say, hey, that's the workout room for the women. And you put that equipment in it that they can use to work out. And I'm sorry, man, food is food. Food is food. On that level, I know you called me the businessman. I know you understand business. On that level, you're buying it by the tons. You're buying it by the pounds. You're buying it in bulk. So guess what? You make sure you buy enough that over at that hotel, the women have the same thing to eat that the men do. It ain't hard. It ain't hard. Good business people find a way. Good business people find a way. I'm glad we had that TED Talk on business. Thank you for waking up my business juices. Appreciate you. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this? What's up, man? Y'all Will knows, so there you go. This brother can speak to it. What's going on, Will?
Listen, I just want to respond to 832-285, if I may.
Go ahead.
It's not professional sports. We talk about revenue and bringing in revenue. We're talking about college athletics. We're talking about college students. If college student A can have access to meals, workout facilities, per diem, stipend, why not college athlete B? Regardless of what the revenue bringing in states, they're college athletes. They should be accommodated equally. I don't understand the difficulty in that, and that's always the first statement. Well, they brought in new revenue. It's not about revenue. We're talking about college athletics.
Right. Like, listen, bro. You take my daughter off from campus, out of her dorm room or the apartment that I'm paying for, and you take her all the way across the country to play some basketball. You better feed her. You better make sure she's in a clean hotel. You better make sure she's got what she needs so she can do what she got to do. Or if you can't, then leave her where she is and let me take her and put her where she can get treated right. It's just that simple. It ain't hard.
It's not. That's all I had. Great show as always. I heard that. I'm like, and it's not revenue sharing.
Yeah.
It's not, Major League Baseball where the Yankees share revenue with the Royals.
Right.
It's not that.
Yeah. No, brother, I appreciate you as always. Willie Gibson, broadcast journalist from Columbus, Ohio, and covers the Ohio State. You sent me a message about a presser that the young man, Lydell, was going to have. What's the latest on that?
Yeah, he spoke this morning. Just, shared his heart. He's going to continue to speak out. 98% of the text and the messages he receives are positive. It's that 2%, and he just felt the need to express that, to share that. And he was himself. He handled himself very, very well, and just let it. The authorities are handling it. They're still investigating, looking to determine and discover who that was that sent those messages, and he just made it known. You haven't silenced me. You haven't scared me, and I will continue to speak out.
I'm glad to hear that. How is his back? I know he suffered a lower back injury during the tournament. How is his back doing?
From all indications, he's well. End of the season, they really didn't speak a lot to his physical condition. He did say that he hasn't decided yet. He'll test the waters. He just ended his sophomore year. He'll test the waters as far as the NBA draft. That's still a decision that's yet to be made. But he handled himself well.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad. Again, looked like a fine young man who was out there giving it all he had, and unfortunately, collectively, the team didn't win. Has the kid Washington gotten any flack? That's who I was really worried about getting that kind of attacks. How about him? What's the latest on him?
No word as of yet. Again, with the season technically over, there's not a lot coming out of the facility as far as basketball is concerned. Interestingly enough, he hasn't received, as far as I know, no backlash. Or I think when the Liddell incident became public, that might have turned the light on some things and allowed some people to scurry back into the corners, so to speak.
Gotcha.
If they were going to say something, absolutely not now at this point.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And then one more question before you go. Justin Fields is apparently getting a lot of interest, obviously, from the league, but published reports say that the Patriots might be really high on him. Are you hearing anything up there that we might not be hearing?
What I'm hearing is Carolina is looking to trade up to 3 with Miami, and they're looking at Justin Fields very, very strongly.
Yeah, that would be a good fit. I hate that for Teddy Bridgewater, but right. Justin Fields in Carolina wouldn't be a bad fit.
Absolutely not.
Willie Gibson, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you, big dog.
Appreciate you. Will Gibson 7 Twitter, Will Gibson 7 Instagram, Will Knows on Facebook, home of the Will Knows podcast coming soon.
I can't wait. I got a chance to see a young lady by the name of Karen Gibson the other day. And obviously, I told her that you had dropped by the show when me and David Grubb were on. So, she loves you to life, brother.
As do I, her.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Will, thank you, man. We'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate you.
All right. Will Gibson, y'all. Good brother. Y'all be sure and follow him. Real good brother. And I appreciate him always making time to drop in and add some value and knowledge to the show. I'm telling you, good brother. Good brother. I appreciate it. And I'm glad we've become brothers. Again, like he said, college sports is not like the pros. You're not doing revenue share across, the league. The Yankees pay a luxury tax. The Lakers pay a luxury tax so that, Charlotte can stay in business. It's the NCAA. It's college. The food and the board and the per diem and all that already predetermined, already taken care of. Feed these kids, put them up in the right spots, and give them the tools that they need to be successful. Watch this, so that they can entertain others and generate revenue for you. At the end of the day, that's all it is. And Mark Emmert has got to step up to that. To whom much is given, much is required. And Mark Emmert is at the top of the heap. And if he doesn't want the responsibility, trust me, I'm sure there's several other people that do. But again, the ladies that are in the executive level of the NCAA have got to start pushing back on this stuff. They've got to. Whether they leak the information to somebody else or whatever, they got to start pushing back. They cannot let this stuff be reactionary as opposed to, we're not going to do that. We're going to do what? No, we're not going to do that. Mr. Emmert, with all due respect, I appreciate the opportunity you've given me here, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to rent out a conference room and throw, a stack of 10 dumbbells in there and call that a weight room. Like people's apartment complex weight rooms was nicer than what the NCAA tried to push off as the weight room for the women up in down there in San Antonio, over there in San Antonio. Do better. Be best. Be best. Be best. All right. Let me get back to some of these games. I think I got somebody just said it's not professional sports. It is not professional sports. All right. There's another text message here. 281-276. 281-276 says pretty much the same thing. AJ, I get what you're saying, but women's sports as a whole is not on the same level as the men. Could that be the reason for the disparity? We've already talked about that. The NCAA can take care of that. They can take care of that. They can allocate enough funds to make sure the women have what they need. And, again, this whole, there should be a little less. Really? Why is it so hard to make things equal? And I'm not just talking about men and women. Why is it so hard for people to realize that stuff should be equal? I mean, people should have the same treatment under the law. People should have the same treatment in hiring practices. People should have the same treatment in lending practices. People should have the same treatment when it comes to education. Why is equal so hard? What is the break with that? Why is there just like a wall that we can't get over or around when it comes to that? So are you telling me that if Becky Hammon gets the head coaching job with the San Antonio Spurs, somehow because women's sports is not as profitable as the men, she should take less money as the first woman head coach? Oh, well, hey, listen, I know I'm not going to generate enough revenue as Coach Pop did, so I'll sign for $1 million instead of $7 million. Is that what she's supposed to do? Yeah, no. Yeah, no. And if you think like that, I mean, you're allowed to think like that. You're wrong, but you're allowed to think like that. I mean, that actually might be the problem. When you're okay with that, then eventually they're going to find a reason to minimize you. Like, you ain't going to be at the table forever. All right, so here we go. Yesterday's games. There were some good ones yesterday. Number on the women's side now. I'm talking about women today. It's kind of a pop-up Women's Day Wednesday. Number 1 seed North Carolina State beat University of South Florida 79-67. That game was a little closer than I expected. And then number 5 Iowa had really blown UK out. Kentucky was getting blown out. They made it respectable, but it was still 86-72. And then number 6 seed Michigan eliminated number 3 Tennessee. And you don't see that often. Tennessee going out in the second round on the women's side. They beat them 70-55. So what the men aren't doing in the Big Ten, the women are getting done on their side of the Big Ten. And then you had number 5 Georgia Tech knock off number 4 West Virginia 73-56. Man, Baylor rolled all over Virginia Tech, 90-48. Number 1 seed South Carolina beat Oregon State 59-42. Number 1 seed Stanford beat number 6 Oklahoma State 73-62. And UConn did what UConn does. They rolled Syracuse 83-47. All those on the women's side. So giving the women some love and some run here on the show, since Mark Emmert can't make time to sit down and talk with people about how to make things better. And since I got a few listeners that feel like, well, the women don't generate enough revenue, so they don't get the same kind of bennies, short for benefits. I'm giving them a run on the show. Go, ladies, go. All right, take a break. We'll be right back with more right after this on the lunch break. Legendary KYOK, all new 92.3 FM, and streaming live on KYOKradio.org.
Now, in-home or in-office do-it-yourself COVID-19 testing is available to you, and the results are 99% accurate. Save your time and be safe by avoiding the lines and crowds. You can test yourself and your family members at home. Test your employees at work, making sure your workplace is safe. Simply call Citation Bioscience at the number we're about to give you to order your COVID-19 testing kits. When they arrive, follow the simple instructions and send them back to us with our prepaid shipping. Results are ready the next day in 95% of the cases. And remember, they are 99% accurate and reimbursable by your insurance company. Save your time, stay safe, and avoid the crowds. Order your COVID-19 kits now by calling this number now. Pricing starts at $119 and discounts are available for larger orders. Call now. 800-247-8046. 800-247-8046. That's 800-247-8046.
Do you watch television? Of course you do. Then have you tried Dish TV from All American Dish yet? No? Well, now is a great time because we're giving everyone that calls today a 2-year locked-in price. Your rate will not change for 2 years. The clock is ticking. Call now, get Dish, and get your price locked in for 2 years and save yourself some money. Dish has your favorite TV programs, even Netflix and Amazon Prime built into the DVR. You can even watch Dish anywhere you have an internet connection. Plus, we've even got awesome discounts for the military and seniors. Oh, and one more thing. Call All American Dish now and we'll even give you a free Google TV voice remote, free installation, and free equipment. Don't wait. Call All American Dish now.
800-296-1302. 800-296-1302. 800-296-1302. That's 800-296-1302.
You don't sit behind a desk every day to earn a living. You're out and about making it happen.
And sometimes you get a little bit behind on your paperwork, like bookkeeping and paying your taxes. It's easy to get behind on paying your taxes. It happens to the best of us. And you know what happens next. The big bad IRS comes knocking on your door. And when that happens, you need to call the good old boys at the Tax Doctor. Let them do what they do best. Deal and negotiate with the IRS so you pay the lowest you can in back taxes that the law allows. We are a 100% U.S.-based company, and we've saved our clients millions over the years in back taxes. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call my friends right now at the Tax Doctor and learn more.
800-603-9359. 800-603-9359. 800-603-9359. That's 800-603-9359.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy James Fortune, and you are listening to The Lunch Break. Keep it locked.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. Little Christian rock in the background. Casting crowns for those who don't know. All right, let me pull it down. Let me get back to it. I got to tell you, I can be as guilty as some of the ones that I'm talking about in the way I go about my business. And I got to do better. Two things that I regret not having done. Number one, we did the March Madness Keeping Up with the Joneses bracket challenge on the men's side and didn't do one on the women's side. Like, that's borderline hypocritical of me. And I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better because I recognize the error of my ways, and I'm not going to, I'll get back to that in a couple of weeks. No, I'm telling you right now, I regret not having put together a bracket for the women's tournament just like we did the men. And I mean, literally, we could have reallocated the cash prize, $500 on the men. We could have split it, $250 if you win the men's bracket, $250 if you win the women's bracket. Could have done that easily. Or found another $500 sponsor for the women's bracket. I mean, I got to do better. I can call Mark Emmert out for a bunch of reasons, but I don't want to be hypocritical. And that was hypocritical. The other thing I came in regretting was not acknowledging the senseless loss of life in Colorado as a result of another mass shooting. I didn't call that out yesterday. I was too busy, jumping on the fact that the Rockets ended their 20-game losing streak. And, those that really know me know that I'm not that insensitive. And that was insensitive. Those families are really dealing with a major alteration to their lives as a result of someone's, I don't even have words for it. I don't even have words for it. Like, I'm going to get my AR-15 and other automatic weapon, and I'm going to go down to the local grocery store and just shoot as many people as I can because I'm having a mental health issue, because, I had a bad day, like down there is the excuse in Georgia. And while I'm on this, let me correct my issue, and then I want to jump on Georgia for a second. I want to do more than send thoughts and prayers out for the people in Colorado and Boulder. I want something to be done. I know there are people that feel like you just can't introduce any legislation whatsoever because it is a complete infringement on the Second Amendment and our rights under the Second Amendment. I am an active Second Amendment user. I got my stuff. I got my license. unlike the kid from Kenosha, I abide by the law. I don't buy what I ain't supposed to have. I don't get what I'm not supposed to get. I had to go through a waiting period. I paid my money one day. I got my gun another day. Something has to be done. Extended background checks so that people like this young man can't get a gun and then go and do what he did with it. Like, that's just out of the question. And I, like many, if they didn't pass it after Sandy Hook, when little children got killed, I don't know when and if they will. Like, if that didn't move you to say, hey, we got to do something, I don't know what will. And man, I got to tell you, all this false flag stuff and this, that, stuff, kids got killed. I don't even want to talk about conspiracy theories. I don't want to talk about your 10 hat fold stuff when it comes to kids getting killed. I want to talk about solutions. So I hope that finally somebody has a change of heart and does something. Nobody's going to come and take your guns away. Nobody's going to come and arrest you because you have certain guns. There needs to be reasonable processes in place nationwide so that the wrong people can't get the wrong weapon and do the wrong thing with it. That shouldn't be hard. And if you don't agree with me, it's okay. It's okay. So, next season, men and women's bracket. And if ever I am not sensitive to a national tragedy and I don't at least mention it once in my show, y'all call me on that, 281-453-1000, or text me 832-403-5005 and say, hey, AJ, are you going to say something about blah, 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 blah. Now, no random stuff now. I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I want to get on Georgia real quick before I go. When has a criminal ever said, oh, yeah, it was this, and nobody investigated the rest? Like, don't criminals lie all the time? So a guy walks into not one, not two, but 3 different businesses and kills people in all 3 businesses. And then when he is apprehended, he says, oh, well, I did that just because, I got a sex addiction and I wanted to kill the temptation. Now, he rode past white massage parlors. He rode past other massage parlors, and some kind of way he only hit 3 Asian massage parlors. And because he said it was because of a sex addiction, the spokesperson for the police said that's what it was, definitively. Didn't say we're going to, continue our investigation for motive. Just said, well, he said it had nothing to do with hate. It was all about his addiction. Well, he might as well just said, I didn't do it. The way y'all just believed everything he said. And oh, yeah, by the way, there's a reason why he didn't say it was a hate crime, because now in the state of Georgia, a hate crime is punishable on a whole different level than a non-hate crime. So if you don't want to get lethal injection, or you don't want to spend the rest of your days in jail without the possibility for parole, what do? Oh, no, it wasn't that. It was this. Oh, okay, I'm glad you told me. Okay, well, good. We don't have to worry about the hate crime statute then. We can just prosecute you under this. Stop it. Do your job. Do your job. Do your job. All right, I got to get ready to go. Let me see if there's any more breaking news out there. I had to cover those things. So, man, I can't just do a men's bracket from now on. I got to do both. I will give you an update on the standings in the lunch break, keeping up with the Joneses March Madness bracket. Delano Burton is in first place. Yeah, Delano Burton is in first place with 43 points. Todd is in second with 42. Kerry Reinert is in third with 40. Delano's other bracket is in fourth with 39. Let's see, Stephanie Bisco, 37, is at 6. And then a bunch of people at 7. Amber Shaw, 36. Chi-Town, 36. Chi-Town, other bracket, 36. Alexis, 36. Erica Agnew, 36. Big Mike, 36. Carlton Berry, 35 at 13. Erica Agnew, 35 at 13. Keith Hawkins, Longhorn Keith, is at 16 with 34. Dwayne B. Cook, 16 with 34. My son at 16 with 34. There I am at 16 with 34. I got to get over Todd. Alexis, Stephanie Bisco, Mike Riggins, all within reach. All of them within 10 of the lead. So keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Don't give up. Your bracket's already in. Nobody's bracket is perfect. Almost everyone has suffered a major loss with one of their top seeds. So y'all hang in there. All right, let me get ready to go. Sybil Wilkes is up with her COVID-19 update, and then Donnie McClurkin will kick in with the Donnie McClurkin Show. Don't forget, TD Blacksher back with Table Talk Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on the legendary KYOK, the all-new 92.3 FM and streaming live, kyokradio.org. Tomorrow, of course, we got Shiloh Radio, and then your boy will be back with Throwback Thursday. Chris Gardner will be with me, and, of course, we'll have some other special guests before the week is over, so be sure to tune in. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it, but please wear your mask still. Wash your hands 20, 30 seconds still. Sanitize everything around you. Be sensitive to everybody around you. Give people 6 feet. Good God, it's not hard. And when you see that racism, kill it. Not the person, but the racism. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you, Jenny Dow Creech. Thank you. All right, talk to y'all tomorrow.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today. For the 8th time in 9 days, a mass shooting has occurred in the U.S. The latest took place Monday at a Boulder, Colorado grocery store. 10 people, including a Boulder policeman, were killed. 10 charges of first-degree murder have been levied against a 21-year-old man. He was taken into custody after being shot during the apprehension. The Senate Judiciary Committee met this morning for the first of several hearings on how to reduce gun violence. Chairman Dick Durbin of Illinois called gun violence in the United States a public health crisis. Hours after COVID-19 vaccine collaborators, AstraZeneca and Oxford University, released data on their large clinical trial, federal officials said that information may have been missing more updated numbers. Vaccine experts reacted with exasperation at a company that has already made several missteps during the vaccine development process. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybilWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
All right, y'all. Again, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I hope y'all enjoyed my guests. I appreciate Keith Hennick calling in, Willie Gibson calling in. I appreciate y'all's comments. Bailey, Martin, thanks for tuning in. Come back again. All right, y'all. Not this, definitely this. Y'all take care.